Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. In today's video, I want to answer some common questions I get about this brand new, not so new anymore, 2024 Ninja 500. I want to talk about some of the things that, just some of the questions that I get pretty often, and kind of give you guys my thoughts on how I feel about this thing. About 8 months later, 5,000 miles. And see if anything has popped up that's weird or anything, and I'll explain. So, first thing I want to get to is I don't think I've addressed it in a video. I have done a cheap old Amazon special exhaust. We don't really have eBay special anymore. It's more Amazon special. But let's see. Do we got anybody behind us? We'll stop for a second. We don't have anybody behind us. We'll give her a little look-see. So we got 24 Ninja 500. First common question is, did it come like this? No, it didn't. It didn't. I put all these stickers on. It looks cool. We got the Amazon special exhaust. We did the tail delete. Oh, we got somebody coming. Got a tail delete. We did a clutch spring right here, which I've explained, but I haven't showed how to do yet. I'll probably do that in another video when I do. I'm probably going to lower this thing a little bit, but I haven't committed yet. So, but that's the first couple things I did. I did have a phone mount here, and it worked for a while, but I've come to find out that I kind of like not having a phone mount here. It just looks a lot cleaner, and I probably would. I like listening to the directions rather than trying to look down while I'm riding. It becomes kind of a distraction, especially if somebody calls you or texts you or something like that. So I had a phone mount, but I deleted it. Obviously that one's kind of a personal preference thing, but that was something that I did, and then I was like, nah, I'm good. Then I did the tail delete first, which is probably like the first thing you should do. And I think I got an Amazon tail delete. It's like I want to say like I think it was only really like $20 or $30. It's just a little metal bracket, kind of pulls everything up. I kept the one where I still use the stock signals. I think it looks a lot cleaner in my opinion. I mean, you could do like what most people do, is the undertail, where you like put it flat on the bottom of the bike, and then you have the ones that are like tucked as far as you can get it. But I like this one. It looks a little more like OE plus, so I like that. Then I did the Amazon special exhaust. It still has the baffle in it, but otherwise it'd be way too loud. So I've done that, and besides like normal maintenance, like oil change and whatnot, the only thing that I have come across that's really like, I won't say bothered me, but it's been kind of odd, is in the maintenance it says that you're supposed to do, after you do your first oil change, you're supposed to go from, I think it's 800 miles to 7,000 before you do your next one. And I don't entirely agree with that. I know that all these new machines, these new cars, these new bikes, all these things are made to go for a long time before you change your oil or do any kind of maintenance or anything. But I would highly recommend probably doing every 3,500 miles. Just cut that in half. I mean, if you're doing 3,500 miles, it's probably every couple months you're just going to go ahead and do an oil change. But because I've came from the rule of 3,000 miles or 3 months, so you should be doing it right about that. You can stretch that to like 4K miles, 4 months, if you strap for cash or anything like that. But that's something I would recommend, is just doing your oil change a little bit more often than the intervals stated in the manual, just because like I don't know, I think I've noticed just from I really beat on this thing, and I've noticed the oil getting a bit dark around the 3,500 mile mark. I'm at about 4K on this oil, and it's pretty dark. I've had to top it off once. I'm not sure why. I know it's probably because I beat on this thing, but I have noticed it spit a little bit of oil out of the exhaust when it gets really hot. So I'm not sure if that's an issue that needs to be addressed, but it could just be the exhaust or something like that. But even with the factory exhaust, I was noticing oil residue around the tip of the muffler. So it hasn't been as persistent now, but I definitely noticed it before. It might just be blowing out now instead of sitting, but that could just be me. I'm not sure. But that was one thing. The biggest question, and it's not really a question, but I know all of you want to know. 5,000 miles later and 8 months later, do I still love this bike? Yes. Yes and no. My yes is like this, riding around by myself. This is plenty of bike. Woo! Pop-ups. He didn't do the thing. Anyway, riding around by yourself, this is plenty of motorcycle. I mean, just rolling into third. Like when you're by yourself, that's cruising. The thing that's gonna make you hate this bike, and it's more of a personal thing for me, is I don't like riding with other people, the people who have fast bikes, because there's no way you're gonna keep up. I mean, I do ride, like I have a buddy with a 636 and I ride with him all the time, and it's just like, it's more of a personal thing. Is like, you're gonna hate this bike if you can't keep up with them, so you gotta consider that. But like, just riding around with people who don't go their top speed everywhere, you'll enjoy this bike, I promise. But I think that's the only downfall that I have really thought about was, man, you cannot keep up with these big bikes. But I mean, we know that this is a 2-cylinder, it makes 50 horsepower. Like, you're not gonna keep up with a 4-cylinder 100 horsepower bike. It's not happening. It's not happening. Now, to say that you can't keep up down most back roads, as long as like any tight twisty sections, like, you definitely 100% can. Like, there is no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Like, you can 100% keep up. I have proven it time and time and again. I have multiple buddies with 600s that either get embarrassed because I'm keeping up or can't keep up down the back roads. And it's because, for multiple reasons, this bike has an extremely small wheelbase, so it's really short, which causes it to literally just be able to flick it back and forth. I don't know anybody that has a Super Sport that can lay their bike back and forth as fast as I can on this thing. It's just such a short wheelbase that even in a higher gear, you can literally just flick this thing around. And I'm not even moving my body. This is literally just bars. This is literally just bars. Just moving the bars around. That's it. And there's no Super Sport that can do that unless they're extremely experienced, because they just can't, you can't flick them around like that. It doesn't happen. We'll go this way. That is plenty of bike. Who's to tell you that it's not? You're doing 0 to 60 in about as much as a 5.0 or a stock Camaro. Like, that's pretty quick. That's like 3 or 4 seconds 0 to 60. It's probably like 7 with how I'm doing it, because I suck at riding. But let's see, which way am I going? Let's go this way. I mean, look at this. Just look at this. Look how far you can lay this thing over. And she feels great. She feels great. I don't know a Super Sport that can take a turn like that. And if you lean off the bike, this thing eats, brother. This thing eats. This is an amazing bike. 5,000 miles later, if you can't tell, I'm still having a blast. I'm still having a blast. The only thing that I can complain about is anytime you touch triple digits on track, anytime you touch triple digits, it feels like it falls on its face, but you can't really expect a whole lot from a bike like this, man. At least in terms of like top speed. But as you can see, this thing handles amazing. Like, this is unmatched. Previously in my first review at 1,000 miles, mind you, I was 1,000 miles period, like 1,000 miles on a bike at all. Now I probably got 6 or 7K and 5K just on this. So I've got a lot more experience. I ride as much as I possibly can. You know, obviously I got responsibilities and stuff, but I ride as much as I can, and I still enjoy this. I haven't once been like, I should trade it in and get a bigger bike, because to me, this thing is amazing. If I do get something bigger, eventually I'll probably just get a 600, and I probably won't go from there until I master a 600. But point being, this thing feels great. There's no need to get anything else, in my opinion. But like, if you get one of these, I can say, I know I said in my original video that this was not faster than a 400. Let me make myself clear a little bit more, okay? So off the line, this bike makes a lot more torque, but it weighs a little bit more. So it really just comes down to rider weight, etc. I can confirm that before I said the top speed quoted on the interwebs was 118. On track, I've gotten 122. Mind you, I'm 200 pounds. So if a lighter rider was on this, I could see higher numbers. I wasn't tacking out 6 gear, that's for sure. But if you did tack out 6 gear and you were a lighter rider, I could see it going a little bit more, but you got to commit. But I'm going to tell you, it's going to take a lot of road to get there, like a lot of road. But doesn't mean you can't have fun. So there's that. I think I'm gonna turn around and go back down this road. This road's kind of fun. Yeah, I think I'm gonna turn around and go back down this road. This was fun. But I just wanted to preface that the 400 is faster on the top end because it has more RPM. I don't know how that works, but it revs at 13, whereas this one revs out at 11.5. See, watch. Although that said close to 12, but I think that the 400 tops out at 13.3 or 13.4, 13.5, somewhere in there, which makes it a little bit longer gears. But the difference I've noticed is the 400 seems really punchy at the top end versus the power band on this is extremely linear. So if you take that into consideration, not saying the 400 is bad, but the 400, like, you can see how I lay over the 500, like it just floats back and forth, like it's so good, right? The 400 does that even faster, like even faster, because it's lighter and it's the same wheelbase. So take that into consideration. Like, if you're a smaller rider, definitely recommend the 400. If you're like me, or you're like 180, 200, 210 maybe, get a 500, because that torque is so punchy. And if you have the stock suspension settings at my weight, it'll wheelie in first gear. Now, if you are like a bit heavier like me, these bikes are obviously not made for our rider size. It sucks, doesn't it? Right. But so to combat that, you do have an adjustable rear spring. You can change the preload, so you can change how stiff it feels. I recommend, I didn't even realize that we had it. That's so ignorant of me. But once I realized that we had it, I was like, okay, cool. Let me stiffen this rear spring, because I'm noticing that when I go through corners, it's too soft and it almost wants to buck me off if I hit a bump. I don't know how to really relay that, because now I don't really have any footage of that happening. But before, when you lay off the side of the bike, you would get it to its side, and if you hit a bump, the suspension was so soft, you like floated, and it would really change the geometry of the bike and really try to throw me off of it if I was cornering really hard. So definitely make sure you set up your suspension for your rider weight. I know a lot of dealerships will do that for you. They have like a spec sheet for it, and I believe the manual will probably tell you too. So I didn't see it in there, but it probably does on the service manual. So take that into consideration. But my final verdict of, is the Ninja 500 still worth it after almost a year, after 5,000 miles? The short answer is yes, it is. There's no reason you need a bigger bike, honestly. If you just want to go faster, you're probably looking for the wrong things. But to say that you can't just come in, take a corner, and enjoy it, I would be lying to you. Like, there's no reason you need much more than this. There's a Miata over there. Nice. Like, you got KBD rear bumper? No, that's primered. There's no way that's KBD. KBD would be black. Anyway. So that's kind of my final thoughts of, is the Ninja 500 worth it? Kind of want to chase down this BMW. Anyways, long story short, answer's yes. It's still worth it. It's still plenty quick enough. It still does the thing. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.